Welcome to Cooking Up Some History. Each week during the holiday season, we're going to be rating the Chester County History Center Library's old cookbooks and giving their vintage recipes our best shot. The successes, the flops, and all. Today we're tackling Welsh Rarebit. It's a dish that's surprisingly kid-friendly, so if you've got any budding Tiny Chef fans at home, this could be a great recipe to make together. Before I show you how to make Welsh Rarebit, let's talk a little bit about how this simple cheese-on-toast dish became famous enough to haunt people's dreams. As a comics fan, I first became aware of the dish through cartoonist Winsor McCay's Dream of the Rarebit Fiend, first published in 1904. In this ongoing strip, McCay imagined what might happen to someone who overindulged in this rich dish, as the result was always wild, unsettling dreams and ended in regret. Welsh Rarebit began in 18th century Britain as Welsh Rabbit, a tongue-in-cheek name for toasted bread topped with a rich cheese sauce. The English joke implied that the Welsh had to hunt cheese instead of game. But the dish itself is much older and had been known in the region since the 1500s. Here in Chester County, Welsh settlers left a lasting mark on the region. In 1684, Quaker immigrants negotiated with William Penn for a 40,000-acre Welsh tract where they hoped to preserve their language and culture. Though a Welsh-speaking county never took shape, their legacy endures in township names like Euclid, Tredyffrin, and Napemeal. By the late 19th century, rarebit was appearing in Chester County kitchens and newspapers alike, with the earliest mention I could find of the dish occurring in 1848. In a daily local news article, the New Century Club described a cooking demonstration where Miss Lydia P. Watts of Drexel Institute taught the ladies the art of dainty cooking using a silver chafing dish. She explained that a proper Welsh rarebit could be made quickly and just as well without a water bath, so long as the cheese was fresh and melted gently. Another piece from the Jeffersonian in 1894 offered serving advice, straight from the period's dinner tables, suggesting rarebit for Sunday night tea with toasted crackers, preserved ginger, coffee, and wafers. So before we cook, remember, you're not just making melted cheese on toast, you're reviving a recipe that traveled from Welsh farms to Chester County parlors and even into the pages of America's early comics. Now, let's see how to make a proper Welsh rarebit without any nightmares to follow. Today's recipe comes to us from the 1907 Brandywine Farmers Club and from one Jesse Pyle. In this recipe, I noticed some strange instructions. One was to dip your bread into water before you put it on the pan to toast it, because bread back then was much harder and not as soft as it is today. So I omitted this instruction. Here I'm putting on some butter before I pop it in the oven for a bit to make it a little bit more stiff and rigid to support the cheese sauce once we add that. I'm using this potato bread and it came out great. Next, crack a couple of eggs and blend them together with a whisk. In a small saucepan, go ahead and combine your eggs, your cream, and all of your seasoning. One of the things I thought was interesting about this in 1907 was the use of cayenne, as I don't really see that ingredient appearing in too many recipes of the day. I've also opted to add in a little Worcestershire, and I think more modern recipes and takes on this either add Worcestershire or mustard or both, which I recommend either. Once you've got those in the pan, heat the cream up to about a medium heat. We want it to simmer a little bit, but we don't want it to boil and scorch, so be careful to constantly stir with this recipe, especially once we add the cheese in. The recipe called for a certain amount of cheese, but I almost tripled it just to get the consistency I wanted with this cream. Also, if it's still a little too runny, I used heavy cream and not milk. You can use either, but if you need to thicken it up, you can always add a little cornstarch. What we're doing here is kind of thickening up this sauce. We want it to be about like nacho cheese, and we don't want it too runny, or else it'll probably soak right through our bread into the bottom of the pan. This is one of the reasons why we toasted the bread, to make sure that it had a firm support, because it will soften up once we put the sauce on it. Go ahead and ladle it onto the bread and pop into a preheated 350-degree oven. It shouldn't take too long, usually about 5 minutes or so, depending on your oven. Now it's time to plate this up. I was really interested to try this as I've never had the dish before, nor have I made it. Let's plate it up and make it fresh. And by make it fresh, I mean sprinkle a little bit of parsley on there. Shout out to my friends Arsène and Servais for teaching me that term. Let's give it a shot. Oh yeah, this is definitely a fantastic dish. I will totally be making this again, but I'll probably be adding some mustard. But it's perfect for a really quick breakfast dish, actually, if it's Thanksgiving morning and you've got a bunch of family you need to feed before the day's festivities. That's it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos in this series. See you next time, and thanks for watching.